When did you realize your doctor was dangerously incompetent? For over a year, I was a ghost. I was fading away, and the one person who was supposed to help me, Dr. Albright, just kept smiling and telling me I was perfectly healthy. It started with a strange fatigue, a deep cellular exhaustion that sleep couldn't touch. Then came the pain, a sharp, migratory ache in my joints that would leave me breathless. I was a 30-year-old who suddenly had the body of an 80-year-old. I went to Dr. Albright with a detailed list of my symptoms. He ran some basic blood tests. Everything came back normal. He patted me on the arm and told me I was probably just stressed. "You young professionals," he said with a chuckle, "you burn the candle at both ends. Try yoga." I tried yoga. I got worse. On my next visit, I brought up the fact that I was now losing my hair. He didn't even look up from his computer screen. "That's common with anxiety," he said, typing. "I'm going to prescribe you a mild antidepressant." I told him I wasn't depressed, I was sick. He finally looked at me, his eyes filled with a kind of weary condescension. "Sometimes," he said slowly, as if talking to a child, "the mind can create physical symptoms. It's called somatization. The pain you're feeling is real to you, but it doesn't have a physical cause." He was telling me I was crazy, but in the nicest possible way. That was his method. He was a master of polite, paternalistic gaslighting. For months, I believed him. I thought I was losing my mind. I'd lie in bed, my joints on fire, and wonder if I was somehow inventing the pain. The turning point came when I collapsed while trying to bring in the groceries. The bag of oranges rolled across the kitchen floor, and I just lay there, unable to get up, crying from frustration and pain. That was my burn it all down moment. I realized that if I was going to survive, I had to become my own doctor. I started my own investigation. This was my earned discovery, and it was a full-time job. I bought medical textbooks. I spent hundreds of hours on research databases, cross-referencing my symptoms. I started a new, more detailed journal, tracking every ache, every dizzy spell, every clump of hair in the shower drain. I also decided to gather evidence against Dr. Albright. Before my next appointment, I downloaded a recording app on my phone. It was a calculated risk, but I knew I needed proof of his dismissiveness. I went into the appointment and described how I had collapsed. He sighed, the same weary sigh as before. "As we've discussed," he said, his voice dripping with false patience, "your anxiety is manifesting in more extreme ways. Perhaps we should increase your dosage." I asked him, "Could you please note in my chart that you are refusing to run any further tests and that your official diagnosis is anxiety?" His tone changed. "There's no need to be dramatic," he said coldly. I recorded it all. I did the same thing at the next 2 appointments. I would calmly present new, worsening symptoms, and he would calmly dismiss them, and I would calmly record his every word. I found a new doctor, a young woman who listened to me for 45 minutes without interrupting once. I gave her my symptom journal and my research. She ran a comprehensive panel of tests that Dr. Albright had deemed unnecessary. A week later, she called me. "You have lupus," she said. "A severe and aggressive form. Your blood work is off the charts. It's not in your head, it's in your blood." The relief was so overwhelming I started to sob. I finally had a name for my ghost. But I wasn't done. I had the diagnosis and I had the recordings. I compiled everything into a neat, detailed dossier. The symptom journal, the before and after blood tests, my research, and a transcript of Dr. Albright's most dismissive comments. I didn't hire a lawyer. I didn't go to the media. I made an appointment to see the chief of medicine at the hospital where Albright practiced. I sat in a large, intimidating boardroom across from the chief and 2 other senior board members. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't cry. I calmly and methodically presented my case, laying out the documents one by one. I ended by playing a 30-second clip from my recordings, Dr. Albright's voice, syrupy and condescending, telling me my pain wasn't real. The reaction was immediate. The chief of medicine's face hardened. The other 2 doctors couldn't look me in the eye. They saw the clear, undeniable evidence of negligence. It was a quiet power move, a victory won not with emotion, but with cold, hard facts. They launched a formal investigation into his practices. I later heard from a nurse that several other patients had come forward with similar stories after they started digging. Dr. Albright was forced to resign. My last image of him was a small notice in the local paper announcing his early retirement.